Let's review, because to graph a linear inequality, you have to be able to graph a line. So as a review, if I am in, let's say I'm in slope-intercept form. So let's say I need to graph the line y equals 2x plus 3.
Do minus 3.
Next week.
Well, what they do is this week.
When you graph in slope-intercept form, you start with the intercept, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Which intercept is that?
1.
The y. So I go up to 3. And now you do the slope. What's the slope? 2. Not the x on it, but just 2. So that's rise over run. So that means I go up to over 1, because it's just like it's 2 over 1, right? So up to over 1. Again, this should already be known, right? We've already done a whole chapter on this. So I'm going to assume you know how to do that as I teach this lesson. The other form that we will be graphing in, this is slope-intercept. Why are you talking while I am? Okay. The other form that we are graphing in is not just slope-intercept, but what's it called?
I want to do it.
What's it called?
Oh, Miss McGee, can you guys scratch that out?
What form is that?
MS plus B.
Point slope?
What is that called? Or, if you don't know what it's called, how did we graph it? We used a specific method to graph it. Y'all are just throwing out words. Cover up. We did cover up. Thank you, Kennedy. This is standard form. In standard form, we used cover up. Cover up told us both of the intercepts, okay? It said if we covered up the y part and we did the x part, that would tell us where it crosses the x-axis
And the Y-axis.
and then if we covered up the x part and did the y, it would tell us where it crossed the y-axis. And then we just connected those 2 points. All right, this is standard form. Remember we graphed, we had 3 different forms we graphed in. Slope-intercept, mx plus b. This is the first one I showed you. Standard form was where we would cover up part of the equation. We would set the x part equal, and we'd set the y part equal. And find the intercepts. Okay?
Because x equals 3.
Because cover up gives us intercepts. It doesn't just give us 1 point, it gives us 2 points. Those 2 points, guys, are the intercepts.
So how do you get you're covering it up, Haley. So
The difference. Now, instead of an equal sign, I have an inequality sign. Okay? Here's the thing. When graphing inequalities, we're going to graph the line the same way. Okay? The same way we just did. If it's slope-intercept form, we plot the intercept, we do the slope. If it's standard form, we do cover-up. Okay? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Here's the difference. When we're graphing a line that is an inequality now, it's not an equation, it's an inequality. Here are the differences. We find the points the same way that we did when it was a line, but if it's less than or greater than, we're going to do a dashed line. Remember on the number line, if it didn't have a line under it, we did an open circle? Okay, now it's a dashed line. We're not talking about circles. And if it looks like this, oh, definitely not. There we go. Then it's a solid line. Okay?
So why did we do shut up?
If it's closed circle, that's when there's a line under it. If there's no, it includes it or it doesn't include it.
Any else?
Yep. Yep. All right. Looking at this, if I am just graphing 4x minus 3, tell me where to start.
Plus 3 on both sides.
It is dash line, you're right. No, I'm not plusing 3. I'm graphing this. How do I graph it?
Okay.
Close. Negative 3 on the y-axis. This is mx plus b. The b is negative 3.
I thought that was subtract.
It is, so that's why I go down.
But you just said negative 3.
Mm-hmm.
That don't make sense.
What don't make sense?
It's basically the same thing. It's still going down.
On 4.
No, you can't combine them because one's got an x on it and the other doesn't.
So the x
Now-
thing would be y and the other would be x.
Mm-mm.
That's
What's the form this is in?
mx plus b.
mx plus b. If it's in mx plus b, how do I graph from there?
You got -3 and then you put that 1 under the 4.
Uh-huh.
Oh, just like we did before.
Just like we did before, this is the same thing. Slope is 4, which means I go,
Okay, so what
Up
is that?
forward. And right.
I'm going to show you. Up 4 and over 1. Now the difference that Zamoria just said is that it's a dashed line, not a solid line. Okay, which presents a problem for us because we haven't done it before. That just means when you connect them, dash it.
Dasher.
Okay. Dashed line. Dashed line. Here, I'll do it in another color so you can see a little better. Because it tells us that anything on this line is not a solution. Okay? But I'm not done yet. Okay? Because you know how we have to shade on a number line in a certain direction? We've got to shade one side of this graph. Call it Zaya. I need you with me.
I am with you.
I know, but you're laughing with Haley and you're doing all this. I need you up here. And it does have to be shaded. So here's what you do. Did you have a question or are you distracted? Okay. New stuff is coming in now, okay? You pick a point on one side of the line. What is probably the easiest point to pick? Try again.
0.
I would go with 0. Do you have to go with 0? No. And if the line goes through 0, you can't do it. Okay? But it doesn't go through 0. So I'm going to pick a point. Easy points are things like 0, 0, 1, 1. Things like that are very easy points for you to use, okay? I'm going to pick a point. I'm going to plug that point into the equation. Okay? In other words, I'm checking to see, is it a solution? Remember, we did this in chapter 1. I would give you an equation and I would say, is the following a solution to the equation? You would plug it in. If it was true, it was. If it was false, it wasn't. So if I plug in 0, 0, then that means x equals 0 and y equals 0. Which equation am I plugging into? Or inequality, excuse me. The very first one. So my question is, 0 is greater than 4 times 0 minus 3. So 0 greater than 0 minus 3. What's 0 minus 3? Is that true or false? Is 0 bigger than negative 3? Yes, that is true. So here's where 0, 0 is, right? So that means everything on this side of the line is true.
The other side?
So we shade where it's true.
That would be the answer.
Yes.
Just shade in.
But you have to shade the right side, okay? If I came over to this side, let's say 1, 2, let's say 2, 0. If I plug 2, 0 in that equation, that's the yellow point right here, right? So x equals 2 and y equals 0. 0 is greater than 4 times 2 minus 3. What's 4 times 2?
8.
What's 8 minus 3? Is that true or false? That's false, right? That's why it's not shaded there. Every point you pick on the right side is going to make it false. Every point you pick on the left side would make it true. You just need to know which side to color on. You would have to use a different point. You can't use a point on the line. You need to use a point off the line. Let's do another.
Okay, so.
Looking at this graph, give me a point that is a solution to this inequality, not one that I use. Give me, no, Christian, let Zaya answer. But that wasn't right anyway.
It's like right.
Okay. Zaya, give me a point that is very obviously in the solution area for this inequality graph. Give me a point that would make the inequality true based on the graph. Oh. Don't tell her. All right, where's 1, 1?
The dot.
The dot's on 1, 1, so yep, you can't use that. Give me a different one. Mm-hmm. 1, 1, 2, 3. Yes, I would say that is most definitely in the solution area. So the point 1, 3, if I plug in, would make it true. Right? Does that make sense? No, I hear several people. Because it's in the shaded area. Okay, so if I plugged it in, watch what happens. This is x, this is y. 3 is greater than 4 times 1 minus 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. Is 3 bigger than 1?
Yes.
Yep, that point does work. So, Zamora, give me one that does not work. Give me a point that is not a solution to that inequality. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I agree. 3, 2 would not be. If I plugged in 3 for x and 2 for y, that would not be a solution. It would give me not true. Y'all see what we're doing here? How we're doing this? Yes, Jordan.
So, do you start coming where we put the first one?
To do the slope? Yes. Yes. Let's do one more in slope intercept. How about that? No. But we're going to be graphing in both forms, in slope intercept and standard. Let's do I want a good one. Let's do one that we have to manipulate a little bit to slope intercept. So directions are to graph. Just to graph. No, Zion, you know you can't wear that.
I can't. It's a head.
Hi.
Is that a -4?
Wait, hold up.
That's an y minus 4.
Why can't we do it?
I don't know. I'm gonna hit record. All right, Christian, what were you saying?
So we have to like take away one of the variables.
Yeah, so I need it to either be one of two ways. I need it to be mx plus b, or I need it to be standard form. And you can do whichever one you like best, okay?
Yeah, I like the first one. You like the first
Most of you like the first one best, so what I'm going to do,
one. This is the first one.
okay, so how? Plus 4 on both sides.
Oh, I done left myself.
That's wrong.
All right, look, y is less than or equal to x. What's negative 6 plus 4? Negative 2. All right, so my form here is what? It starts with an S. Slope, intercept, right? Okay. Slope intercept gives me two things. It gives me a, come on guys, a
Simple.
Slope
and a y-intercept.
yes. All right, y'all. Listen. Slope intercept gives me a slope and an intercept, hence the name slope intercept form. Okay? All right, looking at this inequality. Tell me what is the slope? Slope, the M. 1. What is the y-intercept? Negative 2. Yep. You can put a 1 in front.
So if it was a number in front of the y, it would have been another.
Oh yeah, I remember doing this now.
Oh, okay. So why you had to
First you graph the
Because
negative 2.
there wasn't a number in front and I needed to know the slope. If there's ever not a number there, it's a 1. All right. I start at the y-intercept. What is the y-intercept? Negative 2. Then I do the slope, which is 1 over 1. Good job. Which means I go
over, up, one.
up, over. Right.
Over 1. Okay.
Now, solid or dash?
Solid.
Solid.
Because it has a line under it.
No, because
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I need to know where to shade.
you shade to the right.
How are we going to know? What do we do to see where to plug? All right, so here's 0, 0. It's not on the line, right? I can use it. So I'm going to take 0, 0. As long as the line does not go through 0, 0. We're going to do one where it does go through 0, 0 in just a second. Yes, Jordan? If there's not a number in front, yes. Here? Yep. Wait. 0, 0.
Okay, so
X is 0, Y is 0. Yes, sir. What?
Will you shade that?
That's what I'm showing you. All right. Pick a point that's not on the line. That's the key. It cannot be on the line. Look, we picked 0, 0. That's easier to use. All of those would work. If you want to pick, in fact, why don't you try 1, 2 and plug it in? You try 5, 5. What did you say? All right, I'm going to do 0, 0 with you. Watch. Because if you plug it in and it doesn't work, then you shade the other side. If you plug it in and it works, then that's the side you shade.
So you better try from 0, 0 to see which side.
All right, let's do 0, 0. Y is 0. X is 0. 1 times 0 is 0 minus 2 is. So is that true or is that false?
True.
0 is smaller than negative 2?
No,
It's bigger. So this is not true, right? Now look what happens. The point that I picked is not true.
So you shade the other side?
So I shade the other side of the line.
Ah. So 5, 5 would work or not? No,
5, 5 would not.
No, that wouldn't work. You know, why am I doing that?
wait, so Mr. P, if it's not true, you go on that side. If it's true, you go on that side.
Right. Can I graph the way it's written now?
No.
Is it in a form
Yes,
that's graphable?
it is.
Boys. Is it in a form that is graphable?
It's right in the
It might snow.
No.
Is it in a form, guys?
Yes.
Yes. What form is it? What
If
form?
it MX plus B.
It's in standard form.
You
I could use cover up for this. Okay?
Oh, can you change it?
You could change it, but it's a lot more work to change it.
I don't like that way.
All right, let me show you because I want to show you this way.
Show me how to change it.
It's like the one from the X.
All right, so because this is standard form, I'm going to use cover up. All right, so when I do this, again, guys, this is chapter 3 where we graph the lines. Christian. I'm going to do the 1x equals 0, which means x equals what? What does x equal? 0. Ooh. I might have a bit of a problem. What? Cover up isn't going to work here. Look. I need to show you these things, guys, or you'll say, you'll get on the EOC or you'll get on the exam and say, you didn't.
You have to change it.
I need how many points to graph a line? 2. How many points do I have right now? 1. I need another point. How in the world can I find another point?
By changing it to MX plus B, don't you?
You want to change it to MX plus B?
Change it.
How? Tell me what to do.
Don't you have to divide both sides by 2?
Not first. You do. That's second. What do you have to do first?
Divide both of the 1? 2. Stop.
What are you doing, Sagi?
Minus 1x?
Yes. Move the x term.
Minus x. Oh.
So I have 2y is less than or equal to negative x. Because 0 minus... It's implied. Now, Christian, yes, I can divide by 2. Okay?
So you would get like
Now.
5.
Now my equation, or my inequality, you're right, negative 1/2 x. Now, if there was a number over here, I'd have to divide that also. But there's not, so I'm good.
0.5 equals 1/2.
I divided by 2.
This is better.
All right, so here, it's got the 0 here, right? That says the y-intercept is 0. That's where I start.
Where's that from?
The 1/2 comes from, because 2 was hooked to y, to get y by itself, I had to divide by 2.
I'm not talking about right now.
So when I divided this by 2, I also divided this by 2.
I'm talking from that one in the right. Like how do you figure out how to get one right there? How did you get 2?
So I moved the x over. I subtracted 1x from both sides, right? That was my first step. I had to move this to this side. When I did that, it left me with 2y is less than or equal to 0 minus 1x is just negative 1x.
You not getting what I'm saying though. She asking how you do the standard curve.
All right. From my y-intercept, I applied the slope. What is the slope?
0. Oh, negative 1/2. My bad. Then you rise up and cross and get this.
So negative slope means I go down and
down
to the
1
right.
and over 2.
So down 1 and over 2. Now I have my 2 points. So now my question is it solid or is it dashed? Solid. I need to know. Here's another problem with this one. That's good job, Zaya. Why did you not use 0, 0?
Because it's on the line.
0, 0 is on the line. I can't use that. So for my test point, I need to use 1, 1. All right, 1, 1 falls right here. So I need to know, is that a solution, yes or no?
Yeah.
How do you know? All right, let's come back to our original equation and let's plug it in.
Oh, so you don't plug it with that equation, you plug it with that equation.
Always, I would go back to the original. All right, x is 1.
But if you plug it with the other one,
Yeah. All right, 1 plus 2 is less than or equal to 0. Is this true or false?
No.
False.
False. So what does that tell me?
The 1 over that side is wrong.
It's gonna be
so
on
you
this
have to
side.
stay
Go
in the
shade on
other
this side.
Who said that was the right answer?
This would be right in the shade, right here. Right here. You can?
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, guys, this one looks a little bit different, okay?
This would be.
As they look different, is this about this? Is this is about inequalities?
Oh no.
Okay. If they are not in a form you recognize, my advice to you would be to solve them for y. Because if you solve them for y, then they're in slope-intercept form. Okay? And y'all are the best at graphing in slope-intercept form. Okay? All the other forms, I'm not saying y'all are good at it. I'm saying you're the best at it. Like that's, of all the forms we graph in, y'all are most competent in slope-intercept form. Okay? So, but the problem is to graph in slope-intercept form, we have to be able to solve for y. Okay? So looking at this, how would you solve, distribute? All right, so I got 2x plus 4.
Is greater than 7y. You gotta get y by itself, don't
How?
you? First, you gotta divide both sides by 7.
All right, now watch this, okay? Because this is where it'll start to get a bit confusing. All right, I've got,
2x over 7.
so the 7 goes here,
Plus 4 over 7.
and it goes here.
And you do that thing when you add.
Okay? Now, as I graph this,
Problem.
I pulled this from y'all's homework. This one's a little bit difficult, but that's okay.
This would be. Right after
What is the slope? Is it about this? Then no.
2 over 7.
2 over 7. What is the y-intercept?
4 over 7. Okay.
Because it's mx plus b.
And if you add them, you won't get anything else. You can't even add them, can you?
Whenever it's like this, whenever it's a single variable inequality, we have to make sure the y or the x, the variable's on the left side. When it's like this, it really doesn't matter. Is that why you're confused? Because the y is over there?
So what am I doing?
You could also write it this way, Kennedy.
Makai.
Yes.
Shut up. You didn't know what we were doing all 12 minutes ago.
All right. We start at the y-intercept, okay? Now, 4 over 7 is pretty close to 1, right?
What?
4 divided by 7. Well, actually, it's about a half. It's close to a half.
Hold up. When you have an intercept, you don't do rise over.
We're going to do rise over run now.
Hey, so this would be you just point to 2 over 7?
Wait, you only do rise over
4
run
over 7.
slope?
Yes.
Oh.
4 divided by 7, not 7 divided by 4. Yep. Right at a half, about halfway up. All right, now the slope is what?
Rise over 1.
Okay, so but what is it in this problem?
Go up.
Rise 2,
And then run 7 times.
so up 2 and right 7. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where are you confused? So the slope is 2 over 7.
It's a dash.
That means I go up 2 and I go right 7. Up 2, right 7.
You draw the line.
Solid or dashed?
Solid. No, solid dash.
Okay, how come you didn't do
Dashy.
How come I didn't do what, Samoy?
Oh, we don't do that.
1 point, 1 point. Ah, come on, easier than that.
3, 2.
Even easier. 0, 0. Why would you not pick 0, 0?
I don't want to. It's too much.
So you'd rather make your life difficult?
Yes.
All right, 0, 0 is what we're going to do. Christian's going to do like 10, 25 because he likes to make his life difficult. We're going to do 0, 0 using this original equation.
It's all gonna
2
be close.
times 0 plus 2.
Isn't it?
0 plus 2 is
plus
what?
4. Oh, 0.
0 plus 2.
Oh, I thought, my bad.
Wait, hold on, hold on, hold on.
Who's hindsight?
You distribute, don't you? And then
You
get
could, Christian, you get the same thing. 2 times 0 is
0.
0. 2
times
times 2
4.
is
4.
4. So you'd
Yeah.
get 4 on this side. I just did inside the parentheses first.
So that's true, and you put it on that side.
You shade the side with 0 in it.
That's correct.
Well, I thought it was the other side.
No, because you're gonna.
Here's
you
0,
don't
0.
shade it from that side. You don't shade the other side. Because you shade the other side, then you
We have
draw.
Dead.